Hey folks, welcome back to Project Motor Racing. Apologies, it has been a while. We've been doing a fair bit of testing in the old Porsche. We've got a couple of voicemails, which I will play you, and then I'll come back, I guess.
You have 2 new messages.
First of all, congratulations on the overall result at Nürburgring. Winning from the back on the GP circuit is not something many drivers can pull off, and it didn't go unnoticed in the paddock. That said, we do need to address the condition the car returned in after race 2. We understand the nature of Nürburgring, and we understand that coming through the field requires commitment. However, the level of damage incurred this weekend was significantly higher than what we would normally expect to see under our agreement. To be clear, we are honouring the repair coverage for this weekend as agreed, and we remain on board for the final weekend of our current deal. We just want to be upfront that we will be watching how the next event is managed. Results matter, but sustainability does too. Let's keep the momentum and hopefully bring the car back in a cleaner state next time.
Hey, it's Alex from Wraith. I've been following the last few race weekends, and honestly, the pace is still there. What we're seeing isn't a lack of ability, it's a car that's just not giving you the confidence you need right now. We've talked internally, and we think the smart move is to reset the platform, not the driver. The MX-5 makes a lot of sense for the kind of racing you're doing and the kind of audience you've built. So here's what we want to do. We're happy to put the money up to get you into the MX-5 and back on track properly. No long-term strings, no pressure, just permanent Wraith branding on the car while you're running it, and you focus on racing. We believe in momentum, and we'd rather back a good decision now than wait and wonder what might have been. Give me a call back when you've got a minute and we'll get it sorted. Speak soon.
Trackside are not very happy with this and how much damage we did to the car last time. They're going to honour the current deal. They're going to stick with us for one more race. But beyond that, who knows? We will see, I guess. And then Wraith gave us a call. Now, Wraith I am a Wraith affiliate. If you want to get any Wraith products, there's a link down below. I get a little bit of commission on that in real life. They haven't actually been in touch in real life. This is all part of the wonder that is this immersive gameplay thing. Part of the story to offer to fund a car change. I'm not very good at roleplay, folks. Basically, I've been struggling to drive this car. I have been doing lots of off-video practice in this thing, and really struggling to get to grips with this car. And so Fictional Wraith have offered to sponsor us to switch to the MX-5. I say I suck at this roleplay stuff. So we're going to take them up on that offer. We are getting a Wraith branded MX-5. So one moment, folks. So they've given us the injection of cash that we need. We're going to head over to the garage. We are going to make a little bit of a purchase. If this offends you in any way, I apologize, but there we go. So Wraith branding on the car. As I said, if you want to pick up any Wraith energy drinks, there is a link down below in real life. I am a Wraith affiliate. I'm really bad at plugging that, but it was a really nice way to pivot this save game. Instead of me going, screw it, I can't drive this Porsche, it sucks. I've spoken a lot certainly in the videos I've attempted to make driving this car that you guys haven't seen, about how hard it is to drive. Got the wheel set up because I'm thinking I can drive the MX-5 on the wheel. I could not drive the Porsche with the wheel. Now it means we're going to get more racing of me in the MX-5 for a bit. But tis what it is, folks. Tis what it is. Whether it's Project Motor Racing and the car, whether it's me, I don't know. But yeah, I suck at roleplay. So that's the background. But if you do want to help me out and you want some Wraith energy drinks, they're a UK-based company, so if you're not in the UK, postage is a bit more expensive, and there might be import fees and all that kind of thing. If you're in the UK, they're pretty good value, and I kind of like them, so yeah. So, in terms of progressing the story, Wraith have brought us the car, and now they're happy for us to race the car. Trackside are sticking with us for one more deal, and they'll see how we do with damage wise. And then Redline, we've got one more race with them, and depending on how we do, depends on what they want to do. We are going to stick with what we were going to do race wise, so sort of, because we did well over the longer race. You might recognize bits of this car because it was a car I was using in the previous one. We have been offered a chance at an endurance race. But we're going to go for a UK-based endurance race because we're UK-based. So we're going to do a race at Donington. It's a 5-hour, in inverted commas, challenge race. In career mode, you can't do time-based events, or I'm not allowed to set them up. So we're going to be doing 30 laps, which should take me about an hour in real time. And we've got advanced time progression on, so it should be about an hour of, about 5 hours of game time. Quite expensive to enter, but the prizes are quite good. So hopefully it'll allow us to progress. That's kind of the point. So it's cost us 12 and a bit grand to enter. There's a £1 entry fee because you have to have that, I think, and I didn't want to have another big entry fee. It's part of the structure of career events, and you can see first place 75,000, 50,000, 30,000. A lot of cars on the grid. It's gonna be an interesting challenge, so let's jump in. But I am racing on the wheel. This will add complexity, but I'm hoping that everything works, all the sound is okay, I can edit this all together properly. I've attempted to record on the wheel before, but was struggling with driving the Porsche and ended up throwing it away. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. I do need to make some changes momentarily, so bear with me, folks. No practice, just 15 minutes of qualifying. I don't particularly have any setup, really. I think we will add traction control and ABS. I know, I suck. Deal with it. Fuel we'll leave as it is for now. Brake bias we'll leave as it is. I'm going to take out a little bit of preload on the diff. And we'll add a little bit there. And we can't take anything out on that. I think that should maybe help with the handling. If not, we'll set it back to defaults. The other thing I want to do, because I've plugged the wheel in, is check we are still on automatic transmission, because even though I've got the wheel, we're still going to have automatic gearbox. I know, again, deal with it. I know what I meant to do. I can jump straight back into the pits. Vehicle setup, essentials, tires and chassis. I wanted to knock the force feedback down a little bit. That is just because I'm an old man and I have neck problems. So yeah, I didn't want to screw my neck up in a hour-long race. So let's see how we get on, and once we've got some of this done, I'll talk to you about some of the stuff that I've been doing in the rather long gap between videos, because there has been quite a gap between videos for Project Motor Racing, and some of you might have wondered why. Some of you who aren't watching will probably be glad. Yeah, there's been a bit of a gap, and there's a few reasons why. So predominantly what we've just talked about as to why we're now in a different car. we'll talk about those in a moment. So let's just see if we can actually now show that the changing car was what we needed. I do need to adjust the setup a little bit. I've got the pedals a little bit far away for my short legs, and need to adjust where the mic is a little bit so that I can grip the wheel a little bit more comfortably. But we'll make some changes between qualifying. Hey, that car looks familiar. It's almost like I stole it and created a paint job based on it. Yeah, I need to adjust the pedals because when I brake hard, they move away from me. That's not good. But anyway, stacking the excuses up already because that's what we do. Hey, that looks like my car. That is my car, or a version of my car. There is another me. So because there are so many drivers on the field, I think it's used the other livery version I have of me in here, which is quite amusing. So we'll be racing against ourselves. That's quite funny. Yeah, amusing. We'll see how he does. Can I beat myself? That's a bit like what my car looks like, except I've taken some of the additional branding off that was on there. Obviously that version of me needed a few more brave pills through that bit of the circuit. I'm still playing on 80% difficulty, so yeah, I've not reduced that. I did consider it. Oh, unnecessary. That annoys me because I've not really gained anything there, but I've thrown away the lap. It literally threw away the lap for 0 gain there, which is very frustrating. But we've got time to get in some more good laps. Brake harder. Yep. It's kind of cool seeing myself in my reflection in my rearview mirror. But yeah, see if we can get this sorted. We've now got, and the front tyres are really warm, the back tyres are not. We've not had to do any silly games with tyre pressures this time, which is good. So let's see if we can get a good hot lap. They have planned a 30-lap race, which should be just under an hour, with a decent race pace, which hopefully we can do. And yeah, and I've got it, like I said, I've got it 5 times progression, so it should be about an hour in game. The weather won't change, because I didn't want to be battling potential rain, because I've been having challenges with the game, and some confidence issues. But I think that was predominantly the car, and I'm hoping that this change of car is going to show that to me. And what I'm hoping is that we can quickly improve and step up to a better car. I want to see if we can quite quickly get ourselves into an NGT car like we were running before. That'd be good. And maybe after this race, we'll look at doing the European Championship that I created. That might be fun. That'll pay out quite well. That would set us up to progress quite nicely. But I think maybe we'll have to do well in this race to consider ourselves worthy of that. jump back to the pits now, sort out some of my setup issues, and I'll be back. Right, I've made some setup adjustments. Hopefully everything is okay, and we're still in pole, which is nice. We just quickly check the standings. We are second clear at the moment, which is quite nice. And what I wanted to do is jump into the setup essentials and load ourselves up with, or work out what we need for 30 laps, or just over 30 laps, just in case. So let's go with a 35 litre fuel load. That feels sensible. But what we're actually going to do is knock back the traction control and the ABS a little bit. Someone remind me that I've done this. Knock the fuel out a lot and see if we can set a quicker lap once more, and then we'll call it a day. I don't know what that is. Flying zone exploit detected. I've had it a couple of times when I've come out of the pits, but anyway, we are back out on track. I mainly just want to check the wheel setup as well, just make sure that I'm comfortable. The wheel is a little bit high. What we'll do is we'll get to a spike, back off and not be in people's way. Adjust it a little bit again. Pull over here. To just adjust things a little bit. There we go. And let's try that again. See how we get on. Let's let them go past if they want to. Okay, so we will be looking to overtake you though, so bear that in mind, fella. Or I could just let them go. Obviously with 22 cars on the track, it's going to be a bit more interesting, hopefully. Now, I could do my classic maneuver of and not something I've done in the Porsche because I couldn't qualify in the Porsche to save my life. But in some of the other races that I've done, do a reasonable job of qualifying. I'm going to let him go. And I'll just get a bit of space. Do a moderate job of qualifying and then throw it away on like turn 3 or something and completely screw ourselves up. But hey, we'll see how we get on. It's been a while since I've done a 30 lap. I did a few. Oh, that's not a good corner. That's not a good start to the lap. I did a few 30 lappers before Christmas to try and train myself to be better at long races. But I haven't done one in a while, so we'll see how we get on. I'm not sure. Might be good, might be awful. I might get tired partway through. When I was doing those, I wasn't trying to commentate. I was just racing, and I probably did pause it a few times as I went through. But we'll see. I wanted a race where I was going to earn a decent amount of money to be a challenge, rather than a lot of the career races that straightforward created where you can earn a lot of money quite quickly aren't that time consuming. So yeah, I feel we should have to earn the cash that we're earning, which sounds kind of stupid when you say it, but you know what I mean. Brake through the chicane. Obviously we're running less traction control now and less ABS, so that's going to make me have to work hard. But possibly with less fuel, might be able to be a little bit quicker. Who knows? See, if not, I'm just going to reset everything back. We can adjust traction control on the track. Wow, okay. Did I just genuinely pull half a second out of that? It appears I did. There is maybe quite a lot of time to gain. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Not sure I picked up that track limit, but anyway, brake. Or is that just stuck? I don't know. Let's give her. Well, nothing to lose now. We've qualified in pole, so let's just see how fast we can go. Wheels on, turn the wheels on. Oh, screwed it. Oh well. To bits. And vehicle setup, essentials. So we needed 35 litres of fuel. I'm going to put back that. Yeah. And 35 litres of fuel. Yeah. Next.
You've got pole position. Outstanding lap.
And I just needed to grab a quick screenshot there. So let's go. Where other me was in second. That's quite funny. Let's just check that the vehicle setup is what I want. That's fine. We didn't touch anything in there. We've got 35 litres of fuel. That's all okay. Traction control is set. Let's do this thing. There's me. There's other me. They're actually in the same car. I guess that's just because there's not enough drivers. There's not enough cars because I'm running 22 cars and there's only 20 liveries. Right, that's enough of that. We're ready, mate. Let's do this. 30 laps. That was not the best start in the world, but you know, it's okay. Yeah, because I named the driver for this livery Disturbed Simulations. That makes more sense now. I did also make him possibly quite aggressive, but quite inconsistent. So we'll see how he gets on, I guess. Things to bear in mind on long races. The AI does not pit, is my understanding. We might need to pit. Even if we don't need fuel, I might eat the tyres. I am quite hard on tyres. My driving style is quite aggressive because I suck at driving, so we might end up having to pit for fresh tyres, even if the AI doesn't have to pit. That's the thing, you know? So even if I can gap them, that might just give us enough time to do the pit stop we need that they don't do. So, and you know, not counting chickens or anything like that. So other things. Why did I want to change cars? So there's been, I don't think I even did a video last week on this game. I was trying to do a similar race to this on Spa in the Porsche. And I tried to record it twice, maybe 3 times actually. Maybe 3 times. I could not drive that car anymore at all. The one time I completed the 20 lap race that I set up, which took me nearly an hour, because it's a longer race, longer circuit, I finished not quite being lapped. And that was because I had to pit multiple times because I crashed a couple of times. So I managed to put the car in pole on the last time that I tried that race. I got away. I then crashed. Had to pit because the car was heavily damaged and was pulling to one direction or the other. There was no way I was going to do 20, how many laps it was, with the car constantly steering in one direction. It was not possible. So I pit to repair. I think the crash cost me, like several places. And by the time I'd pitted and repaired, I was way down. I think I was like 40 seconds down from last place. But break. I was somewhat able to make time back for a bit, and then I crashed again. Now, some of that is I was having IT issues. I am going to blame my tool. He says as he crashes. And my monitor was occasionally going blank. Now that's not great when you're trying to race. That caused one of the crashes, but at that point I was already struggling. That caused the almost being lapped distance. But I just could not consistently drive that car quickly with confidence. And I wasn't even thinking about using the wheel at that point. This was on the controller, which I'm relatively comfortable with. And this was, 2 attempts. I'd sunk the best part of, with qualifying, the best part of 3 hours into attempt. More than that, actually, because I practiced as well. Probably 4 hours into attempting to record that damn video. I then decided, well, can I afford to buy the MX-5 with the money that I've got? And I was just short. If I sold the Porsche, I was just short. And it was like, well, can I face doing one more race in the Porsche to get us some money to buy an MX-5? And I did think about pivoting and doing another short race to get that money, but I just cannot drive that, and I don't enjoy driving that car anymore. And I spoke a lot whilst recording or attempting to record those 2 videos about rear engine, rear wheel drive cars and other games where I've really thought those cool cars, Gran Turismo, some of the Renault Clios with big V6s in the boot, and the concept of them is brilliant. And then you spend all your money on them and they're awful to drive. And that's what I was experiencing with the Porsche. I just could not drive it at all. And I wasn't having fun anymore. And play video games to have fun, folks. And so as much as this is supposed to be like a story-driven thing, I was at a point where it's like, well, I either stop and restart the save, and if I restart the save, I'm going to be in the MX-5, or we come up with a storyline point with ChatGPT that I can create a way of getting in the MX-5, and that's where the sponsorship angle came in. And I thought it was a neat way of bringing in the one actual brand that I'm an affiliate with. It meant I could use the MX-5 that I'd already got branded, so it was less work. And in my day job, I'm really busy, and so less work to get things sorted was good. Yeah, it just kind of worked for me. Obviously, I've done a lot of playing in the MX-5. We did Season 1 in the MX-5 on here, and I was I didn't want to do a whole load more videos driving this car, but I'm enjoying this so much more. I mean, yeah, we're ahead, but if I have to pit, we're not going to be ahead still. And if I make any mistakes, we're not going to be ahead still. So, yeah, there's that. And as soon as we step up a class, things are going to get much more interesting. And you saw I was like in the Morgan. We went for the Morgan, didn't we? Yeah, we went for the Morgan. And I was mid-pack at best. And I mean, I'd kind of like to get back to one of the Morgan or the Marcos in the NGT class if I can. And it kind of depends how the storyline plays out. If we don't go down the privateer route, oh yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But the other thing I need to remember to do is the setup. I've got Sim Dash, a very basic sim dashboard setup for this game. It would be useful to actually use it, I think, but I keep forgetting to set it up. So. But this is the first time that I've set up and enjoyed using the wheel in a bit. So, small victories, folks, small victories. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We have a long way to go yet, but a fifth of the way through the race. We've not completely munched our tyre. So the other thing that I got very frustrated with driving the Porsche is, so to try and keep heat in the tyres in the Porsche, and these are the back tyres on this are not warm, but the fronts are staying warm. And realistically, the fronts are the ones that are doing the work in this car with getting us around corners. To keep heat in the tyres of the Porsche, I'd pumped them up reasonably hard, and that meant they didn't. Well, one, it makes the car a little bit more skatey, so a little bit less confidence in the grip. The other thing is it meant that, and I don't know if this is a bug or not. Basically, you've got the 3 bars on the tyre wear gauge on the bottom right, and then you've got 3 bars of the tyre wear. The middle one had worn away. The outside 2 were about half by the time I finished the race, but the middle one was the one that was doing the work. And I said I had to pit like 3 times for damage, and not once in that pit stop did they change the tyres, even though the tyres were fairly worn away. And that meant that, yeah, the car was getting even harder to drive, and I was getting more and more frustrated because I had a car that had awful tyres on it, and the pit crew weren't changing them. I've had that a few times in the game, that I pit when I think I need new tyres, and the pit crew don't agree with me. And it's like, if I pit why don't you put new tyres on, lads? Now that could be me not understanding how to control the pit stop, but oh, go first off of the race. Yeah, that could be me not understanding how to control pit stop, but I think once I've told, once it's set up, as in when I pit, automatically give me the right tyre compound, they should just swap the tyres. But I don't know. I know some of you watching know this game better than me, so you might be able to correct me on that. But yeah, it was massively frustrating. It's like, my tyres are shot, give me new tyres. And they wouldn't. So yeah, I don't know. I am much, much more comfortable in this car. I do, like coming into a chicane like that, particularly playing on the wheel, I would not approach that and with confidence and go into it trying to be quick. I would be going into it trying to get through the corner. And that was a problem because I needed to try and be quick to be competitive, not just try and get through corner. I mean, I was racing on Spa. Spa is a circuit with some flowing fast corners, and if you're not confident going, braking hard from fast corners into slow corners, but also I didn't have a lot of confidence in the car going through a fast corner, and that was a big issue. It's like, if I can't confidently turn into a fast corner, I don't know the names of corners, but when you the sequence of like 3 or 4 fast corners early in the circuit, I had no confidence going through those, by the time I'd got, I was way back. I was just backing off through all of those and hanging on really to just finish the race. Anywho, that's behind me. We're in a car which I am more comfortable with. Conventional layout, obviously, front engine, rear drive. There's the crazy Germans with their engines at the back. Who would think of doing such a silly thing? Particularly with no aerodynamics and awful old tyres. But yeah, enough whinging. Let's crack on and try and have a good race. Today we are doing reasonably well. Something I'm really bad at actually with the wheel is actually turning it properly. So I tend to turn it not very much, which is okay for most corners, but not so good if you've got hairpins, which we have a few of. Yeah, so we need to get better at that. Something that I have got better at, pushing the brake pedal hard. I was having problems with that the last time I tried to use the wheel. I did cheat on the last time and rebind it to the clutch. I've changed it back to the brakes now because I'm in a car that I'm more confident in. Yes, but I did rebind it to the clutch because that just let me be more aggressive with the brakes. And Porsche needed that. It needed very gentle, very progressive braking, whereas with this car, partly because it's got decent ABS, I can just stand on the brakes. Yeah, the front left tyre is getting warm, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. We're a third of the way through the race. The tyres are not dead, which is good. Brake. Maybe I overbroke there. Actually could take that corner a little bit quicker. But honestly, I'm reasonably happy with how things are going. I'm starting to count chickens now, folks. If I can run a few races where the performance is like this, I will start to crank the difficulty up. But as I've spoken about, I'm going to do it just a few points at a time rather than big steps. I want the game to be, I've spoken about it in every video, because I'm really worried that I have the game set to easy, basically. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm kind of sacking it off a bit. But I want it to be this stretch achievable that I keep talking about, which is difficult enough to be fun. And that shouldn't be that I'm constantly sat at the front. It should be that we're having to work for things. Now, if I keep doing this and cutting the grass, that'll take care of itself, you know? But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Like when I stepped into the Morgan, I was struggling and I wasn't quick. And I don't remember what difficulty level I was running on that save at that point. But yeah. Anyway, 10 laps done. We're getting a little bit ragged. That's probably to be expected 10 laps in. I'm not overly surprised by that. My phone's just lit up. I just want to check that because my dad's not been well this weekend. So, yep. He's back home now, so that's good. I'm not sure where I threw my headphones. I've taken my headphones out. Yeah, I am not your typical sim racer by a long way. And I am looking down when you this concentrate on the game. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Looking for your headphones when you're going down the back straight is a bad idea. Or pit straight, I guess. Which is what I just did there. I don't know what that flying zone exploit is. We don't actually seem to have got a penalty for it. So, but anyway, might have to have a word with the devs about that and see what that is. I think I've only seen it on this circuit. But yeah, it's come up a couple of times, and I mean, all I was doing there was crashing because I was looking for my headphones. So, you know, it's not really an exploit. Not really an exploit set. So we are 11 laps down, 19 to go. Let's worry about the condition of our tyres once we've got through the chicane. So tyres are looking in reasonably good nick. We've used 9 litres, I've used 11 litres of fuel. We had 35, so we should be good there. Brake hard, turn in, actually turn the wheel all the way. There we go. Yeah, so we should be okay for fuel and tyres by the looks of things, which is good. So it's interesting. I'm not that active on the PMR Discord. I was for a little while, but I got kind of fed up with people whinging. But there were a lot of people complaining about the fact that the AI doesn't pit. And my question was always, should they need to pit? Because I had done some 30-lap races where I hadn't needed to pit. And it's looking like we won't need to here. I think we can probably actually get through this race unless I crash and do damage to the car. But from the tyres point of view, I think we won't actually need to pit unless I screw them up. So yeah, and that's, I'm wondering how many people are doing, like 2 or 3 hour races, or maybe the higher class cars eat tires. That's a possibility. But I'm guessing the AI are running hard tires in a long race. From chatting to Eagles, it sounds like the AI calculate their fuel load to be able to at least finish the race, if not more. So they don't run the default fuel load setup. They run enough so that they can finish. So I think probably for a long race, they will put hard tyres on. They will put enough fuel in, if they can, so that they don't have to pit. Now, is that the right thing? Probably not. And if you've got a car that you don't have to run hard tyres on, maybe that gives you an advantage, because you can run lighter, you can run grippier tyres, and you can run faster. And like I say, maybe in some of the other classes you can't go that far on hard tyres. I don't know. But I wonder how many people are actually running like 2 hour long races, or to the point where the AI would actually need to pit. I don't know what with like fuel use. I mean, this car can hold quite a bit of fuel, I think. So, yeah. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one as to how they've got the logic set up in the AI to work out their race strategy. Because it's clearly set up to favour not pitting. And at the moment, and like, I don't know if you can actually force it, but like I watch Rory Alexander, here he is, play GT7 probably like once a week. I'll probably catch one of his streams. I don't watch all of the stream. I tend to just jump in and watch bits. And like in a lot of his Rio races, or like the races that he set up, because I know he does a lot of the daily races. But in a lot of the ones that I've seen where he's designed them, you've got to use all of the tyres and so you have to pit. And I don't know if that's like a gentleman's agreement or if that's mandated by game rules, because I've not played enough GT7 to know that. But you can't do that in Project Motor Racing currently. So you can't set up a race that says, oh, well, you've got to pit at least once. And like in this car, there's only one type of tyre anyway, so, unless you consider wets. And a few of the cars are like that, so like, I don't know. Yeah, so we're doing okay. We are a bit faster than we were in qualifying, I think. We could potentially be even faster, but we're now, I guess as the fuel load lightens, but depending on what the tyres are like, we might get quicker. I'm not massively paying attention to my braking points. Will admit that. I am still using the driving assist lock. I know. If you don't like that, that's fine. I don't spend enough hours playing racing sims to know all of the circuits and know where they are. So Here's what it is. Here's what it is, folks. Yeah, the dog's snoring behind me. It's quite funny. The headphones have gone again. He is fast asleep. That is quite amusing. That, or I've got a very wheezy engine in the car. Pretty sure it's a sleeping dog. Pretty sure it's a sleeping dog. Yeah. Anywho, let me know, A, what you think of the pivot. So the last attempt of a video that I recorded in the Porsche, basically I set this up, but I was not happy with that video, so I binned it. It was awful. Yeah, let me know where you'd like to see us go racing on the circuits that are in PMR. Let me know the types of thing you want us, the types of races you like that I've done. Do you like those little race weekends of like a sprint race and a longer race? Do you like these endurance type races? Do you think we should do the European Championship that I set up? That's going to be challenging if we do, because I know for a fact it's got some potential rain. If we do that, I'm not increasing the difficulty because I suck in the rain. I suck in the dry sometimes, but I definitely suck in the rain. Yeah. So if we do that, I'm not increasing the difficulty. That will be utterly game-changing for us because the prize money for that is huge, depending on how we do. It's a big caveat, depending on how we do. I don't remember how much it cost to enter. I think it was reasonably expensive. But I have run that whole championship, testing it for development, obviously, but I've not run it as part of like a YouTube series or anything like that. There's I think there's 6 races, and so it'll take us a while to get through. So it would mean quite a few videos in the MX-5, but I'm up for that if you guys are. We'll just, yeah. And then obviously we've got the story aspect, which will play out in terms of like sponsorship. We might get, if I can drive this car well, we might impress some of the other driving options. So things that we've got as potentials with what I've set up with ChatGPT are essentially, we can keep going as a privateer, winning races, making money, getting sponsorship offers. And so some of those I have to craft with ChatGPT and develop and design and stuff, like the one that got us this. The other thing is that teams in other classes might approach us to drive their car for them, either as a one-off, so like a one-off race weekend or something, or to offer us a longer-term drive. If we take one of those, that was a decent lap, then that will be like kind of a salaried position almost, or some kind of deal where we might not get all of the prize money, but we'll still be accumulating money, so that from our privateer side, if that deal ended, we could then go out and buy a car and keep racing. And we'd obviously have the cars that we had before we took that deal. So, it's going to get more interesting once we're doing better. And that Porsche was not letting me do well at all. Now, it made for some more interesting racing than I'm doing at the moment, because I'm stretching the legs of this car a little bit. But so if we keep being like this, I'll turn the difficulty up a little bit. It would be nice. And I know I've watched EJR play a little bit of Race Room. I think it's Race Room. Oh, he says as he screws it up big time, just don't crash into anything, right? And that has adaptive difficulty, which would be kind of interesting if it was adapting as you race, so that the cars behind got a little bit quicker. And, you know, with like how I like to crash, see a few seconds ago, that would be kind of nice, because it would give us a little bit of a boost to catch up and then back through. This game doesn't have that currently, so we've got to find the right number between, I think it's 50 and 100, which gives us a fun challenge. Now, my crashing does mean that, yes, although I'm faster on good laps, a few of those interesting moments and suddenly we'll be back in the pack scrapping. So I don't know how to set it up really. We'll just have to keep playing it by ear. It's interesting that I'm in second as well. That's kind of amusing. So that is a feature of the fact that the game doesn't have enough liveries, and liveries are... the livery data is part of how it creates the AI drivers to create the 22 that we needed. So it used the livery file for my car that I'm using to fill one of the holes. So yeah. Didn't expect that because I haven't tested this a whole bunch. These events that I'm creating for this career mode, I tend to check they load and don't cause errors and then just crack on. So now the other thing is with these, you can't have 22 cars on the grid on console. I think it's limited to 15 or 16. So, and what I wanted to do, and I did consider doing this as a race weekend outside of the career, I experimented with a few things for this. You can't have with what I experimented with, because it might not be a definitive. I couldn't get multi-class to work with career races. I tried, and I couldn't get it to load up. It was very unhappy, because I wanted to have, originally when I was trying to set up the Porsche event, I wanted to have the MX-5s going with us. And with this, it would be fun to have the Porsches going around with us and have like the field split 50-50. But I couldn't get that to work. So I did consider doing it as a race weekend, which lets you do that. But then I lose some of the information about damage, cost. So yeah, at the moment, that's an important variable for us with one of our two sponsors. So, but in the future, I will be using that because it makes for a really fun racing. I've done a few race weekends when I've just been playing the game with multi-class racing, and it makes it really interesting because if you're faster and there are slow cars on the track, you're working to overtake the slow cars. If you're slow, you've got fast cars coming at you from behind to lap you. So yeah, it just adds a bit of interest. And some of the tracks have bigger grids as well. Some of them have a 31 car grid, so you can get more cars in as well. You can have like 15 of each, which is kind of, if you're running two classes obviously, which is kind of fun, or like 10 and 10 and 10. Yeah, it's cool. And I'd like to include that as part of this. And maybe when we're not paying for the damage, I can do that. And, you know, we're just doing like a subjective light, medium, heavy damage. And because the team might care if we're consistently heavily damaging the car. But yeah, I think that'll be, it make it like when we're GT racing, I assume, I've never watched GT racing really, but I assume they run those as mixed class races. So we could do that. Obviously it wouldn't be a huge field, but equally the grid size, I assume on these tracks, is the real life grid size. So yeah. it should work. It should work, and it'll be fun. You know, it'll be fun. I did a few when I was just racing the Marcos NGT or GTN or whatever it is for fun class car, and that can, on the right circuit, that's quite a quick car. And you could actually, depending on the difficulty level you were running as well, you could actually get amongst some of the quicker cars, which I quite liked. And yeah. We'll see. Right, we are 2/3 of the way through. Our tyres are only about 1/3 of the way through, which is good. We have 15 litres of fuel left, which is good because we've only used just over 20 litres of fuel. So, which is about right because we were using 1.1 litres per lap. So everything's looking pretty good. Shame they've not cleared the rubbish off the track from some Egypt crashing into something. But yeah, so far so good, and so much better than trying to fight that Porsche. Shoulders and neck are getting a little bit tired, so if you're newer here, if you're just here for my awesome sim racing skills, and my awful dad jokes, or just awful jokes in general, about now, 24 years ago, I had a car accident which left me with permanent minor neck damage. It's pretty minor. Basically, the muscles in my neck are very easily aggravated, and using the wheel for a long time. So I used to use the wheel to play farm sim, and kind of the ergonomics of that would very quickly aggravate it. Yeah. Which is why I've turned down the force feedback. I might turn down a little bit more in future, but it's like, again, if you're new here, one of my other hobbies is running very long distances. My neck will suffer when I do that, because like the bouncing of your shoulders tires out your neck muscles. But it's it's not. I had some amounts of physiotherapy when it happened, but they didn't do very much. It's not got better since, and I don't think it's ever going to get better now that I've dealt with it for 20 odd years. So yeah, we live with it, we deal with it. I'll probably cover my neck in DP after this. It'll be fine. And honestly, it's so much more fun driving with the wheel than driving with a controller. It's not as convenient, but and I do need to work out if I can have the fan running and still run everything, because I'm getting kind of warm. Maybe that's just like real life, eh? Maybe that's just like real life. So I use not the most advanced setup in the world. It's a Logitech G29, I think. Yeah, I know, not the most expensive wheel in the world, but for the amount I use it, that's fine. And I use a Playseat Active Challenge. Again, not the most expensive setup in the world, but it works for me because I can fold it up and put it away. It's all very budget because, say, this is not primarily what I do. This is something that I do occasionally for a bit of fun. I don't really have a space to have the big fancy sim set up. The games that I play for fun most of the time don't involve a steering wheel. They involve a keyboard and a mouse. So, and hey, most of my audience hate this game. But that doesn't stop me playing it because I play the games that I enjoy. So, yeah. we keep rocking and rolling. We are now 23 seconds ahead, which is pretty cool. We like that. I'm not really paying too much attention to the timing, apart from the split time up above the center of the screen, because I can see that without getting too distracted. But I'm now trying not to get too distracted. I've not got the headphones in. If I'm going to do this more with the wheel, I might get myself a set of wireless headphones. I have got wireless in-ears that I could use, but I might actually try and set those up with the computer. But probably work just fine, actually. They would probably work just fine. This whole setup is kind of experimental. I think I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've actually finished recording a video on the wheel. So, yeah. I haven't finished it yet, but, we're getting there. We're getting there. Because every other time it's been trying to do it in that blasted Porsche. Yeah. I couldn't drive it on the wheel to save my life. I got to the point where I couldn't drive it on the controller to save my life, to be honest. It was so far, I'm going to caveat so far, because some of the other cars I think are quite tricky to drive as well. But of the cars that I've tried to drive in PMR so far, the most frustrating, I have tried to drive one of the top end cars. I think it was the Valkyrie, so the Aston Martin. I'm not sure which of the classes it is. I'm not familiar with the high-end cars. Trying to drive it on controller is not fun. So, yeah. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. To be honest, it was like I'm just going to jump in this for 5 minutes and see if I can do anything. And wasn't really trying very hard, but it was not good. Not good. I know Mr. Eagles has been working to try and improve those cars with his modding talents, and I think he's had some success from what I saw of the little bit that EJR shared brake for corners. The little bit that EJR shared on one of his streams of testing Eagles stuff that he was working on. EJR tends to race in cars like that quite a lot. He's a proper sim racer. Yeah. I'm just out here hammering around in a car like a noob for fun. I do like EJ's streams. When I get a chance to watch them, he tends to stream at the times that I'm asleep, and sometimes I catch him when I wake up in the morning. But then it's like, oh, do I want to listen to racing cars first thing in the morning? No, not really. Not really. So, 6 laps to go. Always confuses me that, because it says 25, but we have to do lap 30 as well. Maths. Huh? It's almost like it's my job, because it is. Right, we've got through about half of one of our tyres, which is kind of amusing, and the rest of them are absolutely fine. Now, I think some folks have been doing funky stuff with running asymmetric tyre pressures, because, like, quite often the front left tyre takes an utter beating on most circuits, and so you run the front right harder, I think it is, to balance out the temps a little bit. Now it's kind of into way more advanced than I care to bother with, but yeah, you can get into funky stuff. Need to brake. Getting a little bit squirrely under the brakes. Be off bar. No, let's not say that we're far enough ahead. Let's not Murray Walker ourselves. Let's not Murray Walker ourselves. To the corner. My hands are getting tired. I know, I'm gonna whinge. Welcome to my channel. You wouldn't think that I enjoy exercise, would you? And this is a very different form of exercise. Shouldn't even consider it exercise, but it's a form of movement the body's not used to. Let's say that. I'm a giant nerd, and I'm a fan of LTT, Linus Tech Tips. And they've done a few videos on like sim rigs, and they did one on like the $10,000 sim rig, or might have even been more. They're like a full motion sim rig with some pretty high end kit, and that was quite cool watching that stuff work, with like how hard it was to how much work it was to race. They were playing one of the rally games. It was sponsored by one of the rally games. That was kind of cool. And then Zip Tie Tech did it, not Zip Tie Tuning, which is Alex and Andy, formerly of LTT. They did a video on a budget direct drive wheel, which was kind of cool. It had some issues. I think it was by Turtle Beach, which are not a brand that you think of when you think of sim racing kit. It had some issues, but it was a pretty budget direct drive wheel. It had some good points as well. Yeah, and you should go check out Zip Tie Tech and Zip Tie Tuning, because if you're here, you probably like brake, concentrate on driving. Not talking about nerdy stuff. You possibly like either cars or tech or both, and they do both. So, yeah. And they're two good YouTube channels. So, right, how are we doing? Quick check. We have 4 laps to go. The dog's awake. Tires are looking okay. We've got 8 litres of fuel left, which is ample for our 4 laps. I'm still awake. We had a fairly noisy dog drink, so just had to cut that bit out. You didn't miss anything, apart from a very noisy dog drink. That is a feature, not a bug. Yeah, but I'm still awake enough anyway. It's late into Sunday evening. I will be switching everything off after this and chilling out. Yeah, I've recorded far too many videos today. Mrs. D has been having a recovery day because she has chronic health problems, so I've been doing this whilst waiting to hear about my dad most of the day. Yeah. Right, that's the dog dealt with again. You really don't need to hear the noises that he makes. And we are down to 3 laps. It's the reality of real life, folks. Yes, it's cost us a bit of time. It's a little bit slower on that last lap. Quite a bit slower, actually, but, let's see. Thankfully, we weren't pushing hard. But yeah, I had to mute the mic a couple times. So you guys didn't hear. Well, I'll have edited out those bits anyway, but it makes it easier for my editing, and I had the opportunity to mute. So yeah, the last lap was a little bit slower. Anywho, there were no offs, thankfully, which means the car's not trashed. We've just lost a little bit of time. which is fine. But you really don't want to hear a dog licking himself, or the noise he makes when he has a drink. It's pretty disgusting, folks. It's pretty disgusting. Oof. Those rumble strips are tough on the neck. Let's go. I could not do 2 of these back to back. I don't know how people do. Like, I mean, EJ does like a 4-hour stream and doesn't race through much, through 4 hours of that, I guess. Only a portion of that. And then again, like, I watched. Well, I didn't watch all of because, you know, I slept and worked and stuff. But and I know multiple people do it. But Rory Alexander doing the 24-hour streams that he's done. I say I know multiple people have done them. But watching someone do 24 hours around the Nordschleife is insane. In a fairly demanding car. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. You know, I jumped in and out of that, but kind of cool watching it live. Now, for most of his 24-hour things, I've always missed them, and I've watched the summary video he does. But I caught quite a bit of that live, and it was really cool. Really cool. Yeah. And to do this for 24 hours is just insane. I can't imagine the mental load that takes. I've been going for how long? Just over an hour, and I'm done. I'm very done. So I will be editing this tomorrow, probably, because I don't need to edit it tonight. And editing's fairly simple because it's just cutting out the bits where the dog was making disgusting noises predominantly, and making sure that its sounds are somewhat okay. We are coming on to the final lap, folks. I don't believe it. In Victor Meldrew style. Don't believe it. Only funny if you're a Brit or you watch good TV. Yeah, we have actually done it. Actually, really. To quote my teenage daughter. Well, formerly teenage. Now in her 20s. It's very scary. And she now doesn't speak like that, but you know, it's kind of funny. She's grown up quite a lot. Last lap. I'm not worried about being quick. I just don't want to do anything stupid. Tyres have held up. Fuel has held up. We got the fuel pretty much spot on. I'm quite happy to have like 5 litres left at the end. I was a bit worried about fueling super light and then having any kind of issues. Yeah, the lap's short enough that the estimate was probably okay, but my Spa experience had scarred me somewhat. So, yeah. Super pleased to have had a solid race here at Donington. Hopefully the sponsors will be happy. The car from here looks okay. We'll see what the damage is. Obviously, I'll update you next time. You're going to be earning a nice chunk of change out of this one, folks. Break. And pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with that. And across the line. Alright, let's grab the old keyboard to get some pictures. Because we need that to make ChatGPT happy. Hopefully it won't confuse it that there's two of me. But a pretty solid run. So Oh, Declan did pretty well, plus 6 places. Tank did pretty well, plus 5. Drew did pretty well, plus 6. Yeah. Alright. I can get my mouse pointer. That would be lovely. Finish. So let's just grab another screenshot. Finished the weekend. We earned £75,000. Very nice. Very happy with that. As I said, that's why I wanted to change cars. Let's complete the event. We shouldn't gain anything from that. No. Brilliant. Let's go check on the car damage. Nice. So I'll get all of that back from Trackside. We'll see if they want to carry on with their deal or not. We'll get 2,500 from Redline because they sponsored the weekend for £2,000 plus we got a win. Yeah, things are looking up, folks. Things are looking up. Just thinking in terms of next event. So what I'm thinking is this guy. 15 grand to enter. It's 6 races. I'm not going to hit the button because it will take us into it and charge us. But maybe not. Maybe we'll do a single race. We go into the garage. And we wanted to look at, does it tell us class GT4? So the Supra is a GT4, that's about 150. GTN, that's 190. Where's the Morgan? What are you doing, game? So the Morgan's 148. We are not far off that. The Mosler is more, but that's a quick car. That's a quick GTN car or NGT car. That might be fun. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive. So the other one that I'm is this guy. This guy is insane. It looks cool. It is cool. It's light. It's fast, and it's £165,000. So maybe we do something that's going to give us that much money, which is not a big event. So maybe we could look at something like this guy. But we've done those circuits. So maybe we look at something like going over to the States. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. And see you all next time.